Sam, was that a bigger win than just a single win because of how it happened? And is there any reason why y'all can't win the rest of y'all's games this year?
No, I think obviously one win has the weight of one win. And we certainly can't form a mindset that that win was any bigger than any of the other ones, because that's how you let games sneak up on you. Um, and no, I don't think there's any reason why we can't win the rest of our games. And I would have told you that at the beginning of the season too. Obviously, I think we can all agree on that we've stopped ourselves at multiple times, and we just got to continue to get better.
Dennis, go ahead.
Sam, because you guys willed yourself to that win, it can almost take away from the fact that OSU defense was as stacked as they were as advertised. What did you learn after watching a little tape of what you did right, and what does this unit need to do to improve?
Yeah, they were a really, really good defense. They did a lot of really good things. They tackled well, very physical, loaded the box, tried to take the run away. So I thought that we did some good things, and then there's also things that we got to clean up. I was really proud of the way that guys fought versus man coverage. They did a great job of getting open when we needed to and making plays when we needed to. And then we got to continue to develop in every area, really. I mean, there were times when the run game was really good. There was times when it wasn't. There was times when the pass game was really good, and there was times when it wasn't. So I think it would, in every area, we got to continue to improve. I know for me personally, I got to really focus on continuing to keep my eyes downfield and, have trust in those guys and continue to trust the pocket, keep my eyes downfield, and we're going to continue to improve. I know that's what I got to do personally, but everybody's got their own initiative as well.
Onward, you're up.
Sam, I'm just kind of curious about the mental toughness that it takes to come from behind the way that you guys have been able to do in many games this year. I'm kind of curious, is that a belief in the staff, belief in yourself, a combination of things? Because a lot of teams would crumble. So I'm just kind of curious as to the ingredients that it takes to be able to battle back the way you guys have.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of different factors. I think it helps having experience on the field and playing in big games at every position. Experience helps, and then trust in the offensive game plan and trust in our coaching. That is a huge thing, and it's it's honestly kind of frustrating because it seems like we don't play our best until our back's against the wall. And we don't play like I think in the first quarter, it was like 1st and 22. And then we had 2 explosive plays back to back to get out of that situation. Why? Because our back was against the wall and we were like, oh, we got to turn it on now. And then we're down and there's 5 minutes left. Oh, okay, let's turn it on. And it's like, why can't we capture that and play that way all the time? So that's what we got to figure out. But a multitude of factors.
Brian, go ahead.
Yes, I have 2 questions. Was Oklahoma State trying to take Josh away from you guys for most of the game?
No, I think for the most part they're in man-to-man coverage.
Okay. And I guess my question was going to be is that how has the season evolved and what defenses have tried to take away? Have you seen that change over the season?
Honestly, it's I think this year with how much we game plan against them, it's more of there's not necessarily like, okay, well, they're 100% going to run this. Texas is 100% going to run this. Every week, I think Coach Yurcich does a great job of game planning and making little variations and changes to where a defense really can't pick up on exactly what we're going to do.
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Sam, I think you touched on this a little bit after Saturday's game, but just the difference between where you are now as a senior and going back to that freshman year where I think it was 3 overtime games, and every game that wasn't an overtime game felt like it was going to be an overtime game. Just the difference between how, poised and confident senior Sam is compared to when you were a true freshman, sort of thrown into the fire?
Yeah, night and day difference. Just I understand now that calmness in those moments is your greatest asset, and stillness of mind, because there's no reason to let any emotions or nervousness override the present moment. And that's what I try to focus on, is being completely present on the task at hand, regardless of the situation. And that's a night and day difference from freshman year. I think freshman year I probably been like, oh my gosh, it's overtime. Like, we have a chance to beat USC. Oh my gosh, it's overtime. We're playing Mason Rudolph in Oklahoma State. This is crazy. And now it's like, okay, focus on your job and execute your job at the highest ability, and everything will take care of itself.
Chip, you're up.
Sam, can you talk about your philosophy of playing through pain?
Yeah, pain is something that there's a difference between pain and being hurt and being injured. Injury to me is a structural damage to your body that will get worse with exercise, or has a chance to get worse with playing in a game and being physical. Now, being hurt and is completely different. I think it's something that playing a physical game, it's part of the game. It's part of being a good football player, is being able to play through pain. And that's just part of it. That's the way it goes. And, you know, when you choose football, you choose the most physical sport, besides maybe rugby and some other sports, but for the most part, the most physical sport. So in order to excel at that sport, you have to be able to have a physical toughness to you.
Cedric, go ahead.
Chip, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, just real quick, Sam. Now your ability, with limited practice time, your ability to continue to, keep the offense going and have the trust of your teammates and that kind of thing. Now, as a senior, how's that changed from earlier in your career?
Yeah, well, I think the weapons and everything on our team, like we're so much more developed, and we've shown that at times. We just got to stay out of our own way. So we just got to continue to come to work and understand what we have in front of us. And we know that we have a lot of improvement to make, but we've shown they're really good. And so I think we're chasing that because we know how good we can be. And so it's really just staying out of our own way.
Cedric, go ahead.
That sounded like an SID there with the follow-up.
Well done.
Hey, I'm here to entertain. Sam, you mentioned that you guys play your best when your backs are against the wall. You've had some success here the last couple of weeks. How do you and the team leaders hone in on the younger guys that you have to keep grinding on this thing? And last year you started 2-0 and ended up stumbling to 3-4.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've struggled with in the past, is having a big win and then thinking that we've arrived, or maybe getting distracted from the every day-to-day, which is what got us to winning the game. So I think as a leader and our leadership on the team has to continue to understand that we really are backed against the wall, and we will be the rest of the season because of the 2 games at the beginning of Big 12 play. So we can't take a day off. We don't have the luxury of being undefeated in Big 12 play to where it's like, well, this has to happen and this. It's like we have no choice, and every game is a big game from here on out. And so I think that should have been the mentality always, and it should always be that way. But now it's truly, we're at a point where every single day we have to come to work, and we have to understand that there's no opportunity for us to slip up anymore.
Travis, you're up.
Sam, you mentioned finding that calmness in a crazy moment. and you spoke about a couple of those games your freshman year. Is there one game that sticks out where you were the most nervous, most excited, most memorable? And feel free to go back to high school if it was the championship game.
I mean, I got to take you all the way back to freshman year, the USC game. I mean, that was my first road game. I was 18, had no idea what I was getting myself into. Obviously, it was the first time USC and Texas had played since the game that's in the background on Chip's screen. So it was a big deal, and I was, obviously the moment was huge for me. Obviously, I'm so thankful that I was able to play in that game. I mean, what an incredible tradition. Obviously, would have liked the game to go differently, but that game for sure was definitely my most nervous moment because I had no idea what I was stepping into. It was my first road game, playing college football, playing Sam Darnold. I think they were fourth in the nation at the time, in the Coliseum. First time getting on a plane to go play a football game. I was like, wow, this is super cool. But hey, you're playing a really good team, so this can't be cool in the moment. Like, so there was a lot going into that.
Got time for two last ones, Brian, then Chip.
Yes, Sam, just as a quick follow-up on Mike, do you feel like Coach Yursich is someone who can say their defense does this, so their defense does X, so we're gonna do Y? Or is it a matter of, hey, this is what we do good, and we're just going to force our bread and butter on them?
I think it's a delicate balance that he does really well with. There are certainly things that we run week in and week out that we believe are a staple in our offense. And now how we get to that is what may change week in and week out, depending on what we see defensively. So I think he does an excellent job of game planning. But then also working in our concepts that we feel really comfortable with maybe a variation of the motion. Like, for example, with Brennan's touchdown, the go ball, we've run that concept since I've been a freshman. We've probably run that over 50 times. But if you go back and watch it, the way we did the motion, we lined up Jake outside and brought him inside to try to create some confusion with the safety in the corner, knowing they were going to be in man coverage, which ultimately let Brennan free up with a man-to-man coverage with the corner. So there's a small, minute detail or example of the intricate details that he's brought and put on top of our bread and butter.
Right. I also thought the best thing of post-game was how you explained your progression read in the moment. I mean, do you feel like you can do that with almost every play now, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think part of playing quarterback is being present in the moment and being able to analyze what's going on the field. And that's something I'm continuing to develop at, being able to understand exactly what defense they're in, what we have offensively, and where the best advantage is to go with the ball. And I think that the best quarterbacks do that, and I'm continuing to try to do that. And I do feel very comfortable that I'm able to determine and kind of take you step by step my thought process on each play.
Cool. Thank you.
Last one, Chip, go ahead.
Sam, obviously those fourth down passes to Jake on the go-ahead touchdown drive were huge. And, obviously it's been a crazy year at the slot position with guys going down with injuries and coming back up. But what can you tell us about the chemistry you have with Jake, or what you guys were able to do, even before the season that we haven't seen yet, that maybe we just saw the beginning of Saturday night in Stillwater?
Yeah. Jake is an unbelievable talent, unbelievable athletically. And I trust him so much. And obviously there's been some bad breaks. But if anyone knows about some bad breaks early on in your career, it's me. And so I've told him that multiple times. I believe in you. You're an incredible athlete. And I think something that helped us was over the bye week on Saturday, actually, when everybody was playing, we had most of the receivers come up and took full speed reps, one shot at each play concept that we have, full speed, no do-overs. And so it felt like an in-game situation. And so, the pressure's kind of on you, like we have to complete this, instead of you're running routes and it's like, oh, well, if we have a drop ball, it's no big deal. And so I think building that chemistry there was important. And then I've always really enjoyed throwing him the ball. Obviously, he's a great talent.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate the time.
I got one more story for y'all before I roll out that I think you guys will enjoy. Is I was on the phone with Joseph Osai after the OU game, and obviously we were both very upset and talking about what happened. And the one thing that stood out to me, and the one reason why I knew he was going to make that play against Oklahoma State after the multitude of plays that he's made, he said to me, you know, Sam, I'm really upset that we lost, but I'm more upset because I know that in those moments when the game's on the line, your best players have to make plays. And he said, I didn't do that. I had a chance to end the game against Oklahoma, and I didn't do that. And so I knew standing out there on the field in Stillwater, he was going to do that, and he did exactly that. So I thought you guys would enjoy that.